Well, it's time to plant some garlic. It's actually a little late to plant garlic, but it's still okay. So there's one leek left in this row because it got entangled with some sorghum roots. Well, I'm going to be pulling the mulch aside, and I'm going to go through with my mattock and get that prepped for garlic. And then since there's two of one kind and one of one kind, the single will go there, and then these two rows will be, I think it's music. Okay. Look at that. That's looking like some pretty nice soil. So these are the most recent leeks that I harvested, came out of there. And then on down the line, I harvested through the fall, summer and fall. We've got some cold season grasses coming up here and there. And wherever I haven't planted anything, I'm going to leave the grass as a volunteer cover crop. And wherever I pulled the leeks, I just laid down their outer coating and I trimmed them just right here in place. All right, I'm going to get this row tidied. I'll check back in with you. There it is. And now Whimsical is on hand for some chop and drop, just to cut down any of the weeds along the edges. Garlic does not like to have company in its row. That was one of the mistakes I made last year. Too much company from companions. All right, I'll show you after I chop it. All right, I like the look of that. Now I use the pick mattock and I'll go upstream this way, and I'll just kind of break it up, and then I'll head back downstream this way to chop it into a nice fluffy planting. Here we go. First pass completed. You can see the impact of one growing season. So I just grew one double row of leeks here, and the soil has improved so much just from that. With this deep mulch, the living pathways, chop and drop, sheep manure, local untreated hay. So right down here at the end of the row, you can see where it has not been worked. And the top is just powder that blows away. There's somebody lives down there. And then under that, it's just compacted of that stuff. It is sandy loam. It's sand with clay, but basically not really any organic material in the native soil. Nothing to hold the water. Quick drainage, or it sheets off. But with these narrow trench furrow plantings, I can direct the water exactly where I want it, deliver it directly to the roots. And it's so thatched up with mulch that it doesn't really evaporate. So you can see the before and the after. Now I'm going to do my second pass and just shape this the way I like to have it so that when I flood it, it just fills and rolls gently downhill. It's a tiny bare slope, hardly a slope at all, but it's just enough that the water rolls downhill when I water. Okay, now here's the hands-on part where I get to kneel down and kind of like pat this into shape with one clove every about hand span. And this is Montana Porcelain Hardneck Hot. Let me open that up and we'll see how many cloves per bulb. So we opted for varieties that come with larger cloves, and that generally means fewer. So we've got 5 in the smaller bulb and 6 in the larger one. Now I'm going to plant these. Okay, these are about a hand span apart, a couple inches deep. Yeah, so we just put them in root side down and cover it up. Alright, so I'm going to do those and then I'll show you what I do with the mulch. And because those were such large cloves, we only got about halfway down the row for 11 of the Montana, and then I put a turkey feather there, and I'm going to do this row with variety number 2. This next variety, the first one, there were 3 cloves of this one and 3 bulbs, and the first bulb I opened also had 6 big fat cloves. And these are, however you say that, Mateki Marbled Purple Stripe Hardneck, hot and spicy. So I'm going to get those into this row. Well, that whole row is now planted, but I still have 6 of the Mateki variety left, and I have 3 full bulbs of music. So that means it is time to tear up this aisle that had sweet corn. So it has sweet corn roots in it. And so it'll be an interesting experiment to see digging up the sweet corn roots versus next door not digging up the sweet corn roots. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and mulch this row, and I'll show you what I do for that. Okay, this is where I put the manure drops. So it varies, as you can see, from this stuff that's very powdery and fine, and that's going to need a shovel to move it. That's what I like to put that touching the soil. And then over here, this is from the rabbits. And so the rabbits snip their hay and it drops on the floor. They leave a lot of just hay that got peed on. So that's gonna mulch on top. There goes the sheep manure layer. They churn up tiny scraps of hay with the manure by milling around. So it makes a good powder, and that's kind of my fertilizer. Well, there it goes. It's got a light dusting of mulch now. It's just light and fluffed on there. I don't want it to get smothered when it starts to sprout because we've been having warmish days in the 50s, high 50s. Just, really cold nights. We have such a range in our temps here. But I'm going to water that in. Yep. Going to water it in. And I had just watered like a couple days ago, so that's why the soil was so nice and damp. So that doesn't take much. And it's, of course, going to freeze again tonight. No end in sight for that. Okay, so I'm going to leave you there. I hope that you enjoyed gardening with me on this lovely day. And don't forget to mulch that like button. It supports the beneficial microalgorithms. Cheers and blessings.